What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, thanks to the team over at ShowZ, we're going to be checking out the Baiwei Weapons Master, which is kind of their take on a reissue studio series, Dark of the Moon Ironhide. Now, for those of you who want to check this out for yourself, I'll be sure to smack a link down in the description box below. And in some ways, Baiwei are becoming the APC toys of the studio series line, in the sense they're giving us some of these reissues, which we've been desiring for ages. I mean, last year they gave us Sentinel Prime, absolutely incredible. You know, it was near enough perfect. It came with so many additional accessories. They then gave us an Optimus Prime, which was a little weaker in terms of quality control, but now they are back with Ironhide, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think this is probably the best transforming version of a live-action 2007 movie Ironhide that we've ever seen, because not only have they used the studio series Ironhide as a base mold, but they've also packed in the DNA design kit. So gone is the bumper, we now get added ankle articulation, so many more accessories, which does kind of make this a Dark of the Moon Ironhide, and they've changed a few things to kind of put their own spin on it. So as we check out the details, you know, I think there's a good reason why this guy is so difficult to track down, and it's because not only is he the best Ironhide, but I think he's one of the best studio series figures. I mean, if we smack up an image of the actual CGI design, I think it's near enough bang on, and personally, I've always thought this figure was better than the Masterpiece, especially in the way the kind of chest locked into place. But here for the face sculpt, I do believe this is either brand new or maybe pulled from the Masterpiece, because you can see we do get some additional Cybertronian hieroglyphs for the crest, as well as some additional scarring to that right eyebrow. So yeah, that looks nuts, and not to mention the articulation is way better, so the head can now look up and down, tilt side to side very slightly, but can rotate left to right way nicer than on the original version. So yeah, that's sick. Now, in terms of material, he does have a die-cast piece smack bang in center, so that's really cool, and the plastic feels a lot better than their Optimus Prime, and to be fair, maybe even a little better quality than the official Hasbro version, so that's sick. But as you guys can see, gone is the bumper, so we do get these added hinge joints, which kind of allows you to bring the bumper backwards. You know, if you wanted to, you could pull it forwards, but that was how the official version looked, and whilst it wasn't bad, it definitely weren't the greatest, so it is nice that we can kind of slip those pieces back. And they've also modified the arm cannon, so way more accurate to the movie. You know, these guns just in general are so nicely sculpted, and as we flip around here to this one, I mean, check out the mechanical detail. That looks so sick. I just wanted to show him my cannon. Such an awesome looking figure. And then we take a look here at the legs, which for the most part have basically gone unchanged. You know, I do like the paintwork, love the sculpt work, but check out the feet. You know, from the front, very similar to the SS version, but you flip this bad boy backwards, and check that out. We get some additional heel spurs, and bang! Actual ankle pivot on a Studio Series Ironhide, which is why I have no doubt that this is now the best version of this guy we've ever gotten, because to be honest with you guys, I'm definitely going to be swapping out some of my official versions with this one, because I just think he's so awesome. I mean, as we flip him around to the back, check that out. Next to no back kibble, literally the perfect Ironhide. The only way they could have made this maybe 100% perfect would be had they smacked in a waist joint, but due to the way he transforms, you know, all of these hinge joints, I imagine that would have been pretty much impossible. Now, won't touch base with articulation because it is literally just the head and the ankles, which are kind of different when in comparison to the original version, but what I do want to talk about would be weaponry. So, as the name Weapon Master would suggest, Ironhide is definitely packing. So, first up, we get these kind of shrunken down versions of the Fans Want It upgrade kit. These are basically the swords, which I think were intended for the original 2011 Leader Ironhide. Awesome to see them kind of here for the SS version, you know, very nicely sculpted and painted. You can have them as individual weapons, or you can combine these bad boys into kind of a Sentinel Prime-esque double-sided blade. So, that's sick. Finally, Ironhide can get his revenge on Sentinel, but that's not even my favourite accessory, because bang! We get a pair of the Dark of the Moon shotguns. Now, I've wanted these in this scale for so long. Wicked to finally see them, you know, very nicely sculpted, decent amount of paint, you know, not too bad. Both of them do come with a knife, which you can remove, or you can even flip it around to the front to kind of create a bayonet, but the way they store on the figure is sick. So, each of them do have these kind of notches, which slide perfectly into the back of Ironhide. Literally recreates his look from the Dark of the Moon movie when he's just chatting to Q in the beginning of the film, or when he smacks on the top of Optimus Prime's bonnet. So, yeah, that's really awesome, and that's not even it for accessories, because there are also a few more for the vehicle mode, which we'll get into in just a second. Now, as we jump into a few comparisons, here we have the Baiwei Weapons Expert alongside the Studio Series 15th Anniversary 5-pack release of Ironhide. Now, this was a great reissue, but if you already owned the past 4 Autobots, it was kind of a hefty price tag just to get it for Ironhide on his own, whereas here with the KO, you get the individual figure, you get the upgrade kit, you get the weapons for only $27, and I would argue that he does look better than the official version, because the bumper's been reduced, he has added ankle articulation, and the face sculpt is a little more articulated and slightly better proportioned. although I'm not too sure if I prefer the sculpt here of the SS version because it does look a little more crisp when compared here to the mouthpiece of this release. I mean, it's still very nicely done, but yeah, if there was a way to kind of fuse these two together, I think that would probably make the perfect face. But yeah, in terms of the overall figure, hands down, got to give it to the KO. And then as we jump into a few additional quickfire comparisons, here we have him alongside the 2007 Studio Series Optimus Prime, Sentinel Prime, aka his Executioner, Revenge of the Fallen Bumblebee, Dark of the Moon Dino, kind of a blast from the past. This is the Transformers The Last Night Berserker, which is aka a Dark of the Moon version of Crankcase. And then finally, Crowbar. Now, getting stuck into the transformation, first of all, you're going to want to make sure that you've removed both of the arm cannons. We can then take the bumper and just bring these pieces forwards and take these discs, and they do just slide inside the chest. So push those pieces in. We can then bring the arms out to the sides as we are going to begin work here on the legs. So first up, take the wheels and just rotate them from beneath the soles and do the same here for this side. Now, because this does have the DNA Design Upgrade kit installed, there are a few things which are a little different. So the heel spurs are articulated, so they will fold in, and do the same here for this side. And you'll also want to fold in the outer and the middle toe, but do not touch the inner toe because that is sculpted in. If you try and bring it forwards or backwards, it's just going to snap clean off. So just bring that piece in, do the same here for this side, and then come to this one and just fold these pieces in as well. Next up, we can kind of give him the splits, and we're going to take these sections here and angle these here out to the sides. Now, the transformation from here onwards is pretty much identical to the SS version, so just straighten out the knee and then fold the foot down. Once you reach a certain point, we can then begin to bring this whole piece along with it. So just slide that down until everything is nice and flat. Do the exact same here for this side, so bring the foot down. Once you reach a certain point, now we can begin to bring this upper piece here with it. And again, just make sure that's flat. Now we can combine the two halves, so snap them in. And this is where you're going to want to bring in one of the accessories, which is specifically designed for the truck mode. So on the official version, there was a little bit of gappage between the truck bed and the back of the truck. So this time round, they've added this filler piece. Now, basically, you're going to want to flip it this way so that the ports are facing closest to what will become the back of the truck. And there are these two little hollow cutouts that these tabs here will snap into. So just slide that section in, and bang, as you guys can see, it's now one whole complete piece, which you'll see more of when we do get it completely transformed. So now we're going to come here to the back of the figure, take these pieces and just angle these here out to the sides. We can then take the backpack, bring this piece down, and gently fold out the windscreen because it is made out of complete transparent plastic. Next up, take the head and gently detach it away here from the chest. Just arch it back a little bit because the way the shoulders lock in, you'll want to get them at a slight angle and just kind of wiggle them forwards, just like this. And then for robot mode, the wheels do lock into kind of the center of the chest. So what I like to do is basically bring these shoulders here back and just use them to kind of detach that and bring this back slightly. So do the same here for this side. So just basically detach it and bring it back slightly. We can then rotate here at the bicep on both sides. As next up, you'll then want to angle these pieces just like this, and this whole chest piece is just going to slide in, make sure they're out of the way, and it will click very securely into place. Now, once you've done that, we can bring these pieces here all the way forwards and snap them into place, and then you'll take the head and bring that piece forward. So at the moment, everything should look like this. Make sure these are brought back just a little bit so the wheels are lined up perfectly with the fender of the truck mode, and now we can use the shoulder joint and the elbow joint to bring these pieces here up. So do the exact same here for this side, so bring that here all the way up, and then what you're going to want to do is take the bumper and just slide this piece here into place. So those little tabs will shoot into some slots underneath the headlights, and now we can detach this away from the crotch. So bring this down, take the hips, bring these pieces down, and then take the backpack and shift that here backwards. As what's going to happen is this is going to fold. You're going to want to make sure that those tabs are perfectly lined up with the slots that we have in the shoulders. So make sure they're tabbed in, give them a good old squeeze, and it's basically just lining everything up. So this does become a canopy. That little tab is going to slide into that slot, and the same on the opposite side. So just make sure, first of all, I think it's best if you tab the windscreen into the front of the truck, as then we can just kind of shift those there into place, and do the same here on the opposite side. And then what's going to happen here is that circular tab is going to go into that port, and then that tab is going to smack itself into that slot. So just snap that in there, snap this section in, come around here to this side, And this one is a little tricky, not gonna lie. So just snap that one in, and then smack that one in. And bang! Here we have Ironhide fully transformed into his 4x4 GMC top kick truck mode. And much like the comparison between the official version and robot mode, pretty accurate to how the original version looked. Now, as you guys can see, we do get a decent amount of detail for the front. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of the metallic silver bumper. I do wish they'd gone for a slightly more gunmetal colour, and they have decided not to paint the GMC logo. Now, I imagine this is maybe something to do with trademark or copyright, etc. But, you know, a bit of red paint wouldn't have gone amiss, and I'm still not the biggest fan of how you can clearly see the head, much like you could on the original version. Now, granted, that was something that the 15th anniversary 5-pack kind of fixed, but it would have been cool, you know, to have seen maybe a darker tin. And as you guys saw, that gap filler does wonders for the back of the truck, so that's really cool. But we're not done with accessories, because we do get these pieces which we can smack into these little slots. Now, to my knowledge, they're not accurate to the movie. I think this is something they just threw in to maybe better match the real life GMC truck. But yeah, I mean, it's not a bad look, but not one that I think I'll be keeping in the display. But decent amount of sculpt on them, and this is what the back of the truck looks like. Because it's a KO, we don't get any Autobot logo, but the cutout is definitely there, and this is what he looks like from the side perspective. So for the most part, the feet do stow away pretty nicely, but it would have been cool had they gotten rid of this piece, because that was a bit of undercarriage kibble that looked kind of ugly on the official version. And it is strange that the inner toes are not articulated like the outer and the middle one. So yeah, they do just kind of stick out from the front. But for a comparison, bang! Here we have the official version. So, as you guys can see, they are very similar in terms of their sculpt, but I will say I much prefer how the 15th anniversary version looks in truck mode over the KO. I mean, don't take anything away from it, it's still really cool, but I do just prefer the colour of the front. And like I said, you know, concealing that head for this version is so much nicer, because damn, if you were to see these eyes poking through that windshield, I'm pretty certain you would crap yourselves. And just to give you a comparison of how the extra accessories fill out that truck bed, it definitely does look a lot nicer. But it would have been cool had they found a way to have incorporated that panel maybe into the transformation. Now, in terms of weapon storage for all of the accessories, you can pack most of them into the back of the truck, you know, for example, the shotguns and the blades, etc. But with them packed in there, you have no place whatsoever for these sections. So I guess you kind of win and lose some. And in terms of the massive old cannons, they have included these additional clasps. So if we flip him here to the underside, we do get a few hollow cutouts. Basically, these are supposed to just hook into any of those, and bang, that is your weapon storage for the larger cannons. I don't think this works too well, because it is a little loose on my copy, but I guess they were kind of hinting at how the Masterpiece version stores his cannon, so I'm going to guess it's something. And if you wanted a weaponized mode for Ironhide, to be fair guys, it doesn't look that bad. And wrapping up on this review for the Weapons Master, I think this guy's awesome. You know, they've basically given us an affordable reissue of the Studio Series Ironhide, which is probably one of the most sought after Studio Series figures of all time, and not to mention one of the best. And I think they've made him better. I mean, they've packed in that DNA design upgrade kit, which kind of eliminates the bumper, gives him the ankle articulation, and gives us those Dark of the Moon shotguns. And not to mention, they also chucked in those massive metallic silver blades. I think this guy's near enough flawless in robot mode, and when you compare it to the official version, I think overall this guy does look a lot better. Transformation, for the most part, is very similar to the official version due to it having those upgraded pieces. It is a little more intricate in the foot region, but very nicely done looking truck mode. Not my favourite out of the two modes. I do think there are some weird colour choices, such as that metallic silver shiny bumper. Definitely would have preferred it to have maybe just been unpainted black plastic, and I also would have liked to have seen maybe a slightly darker tint of transparent plastic used for the windshield, just to kind of get rid of the visible head syndrome. But if you missed out on the Studio Series Ironhide and you are after picking it up, then without any shadow of a doubt, this is the figure for you. So I'll definitely be sure to pack a link down in the description box below. You guys let me know what you think of him. I mean, in terms of quality, so much nicer than their version of Optimus Prime, and like I said previously, in terms of plastic, he feels just as good, if not a little better, than the official version. So sound off below, let me know what other Studio Series figures you guys would maybe like to see this company reissue and modify in the future, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.